Hello, my Crystal Loves Texas podcast family. I haven't seen you in about a week and a half, maybe. Rebecca?
Yeah.
We had an encore episode last week, so we didn't get to see you. But it's really good to be back. And for those of you who saw my teaser, did you guys get to see my teaser I just sent out? Rebecca, did you notice that teaser?
I did notice the
Kim saw the teaser, and I'll tell you
Brought
guys.
back memories.
I know it did. It did. It brought back memories.
Easy, go ahead.
No, well, let me just say this. It brought back memories for me too, Kim and Rebecca, because we are sitting here close to almost almost 4.5 years later than we were the last time we were in this position. And man, we've learned some things.
Oh, a lot.
We've learned some things. We've been some places. We've done some things.
Met people.
We've met some people, some wonderful people. We've met some people that were challenging, but yet and still, we met them, and they hold a special place in our heart. But I wanted to come to you today because for the last 2 years, people have been asking me this. They have been saying, Crystal, so when are you going to do this again? When are you going to do it again? When are you going to run for office again? Well, let me tell you this, and Kim and Rebecca, and Kim, you may want to catch that light. Kim and Rebecca, I can tell you this. In the last couple of years, and Kim and I can speak to this for a little bit, we've had a lot of things going on in our family, and it looks good, Kim. We've had a lot of things going on in our family. We've had some very dear family members to fall ill and pass away, just months behind each other. And Kim and I were partial caregivers of these particular individuals. And that was our first priority, because family always is your first priority, or it should be. But after that, I was able to just breathe for a minute and decide what my next step was in fulfilling what my heart has been telling me to do for 40 years. If I could be honest.
Well, you were 8.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. I'm excited, but I remember,
I
guys.
thought she was gonna wait till after this towards the show.
Oh, I know. I'm teasing. But I will say this. I have decided, after much contemplation and prayer, and prodding and coaxing and encouragement from my friends and family members and people in the community, that I am going to run again for the position of state representative for District 131. That's the district I grew up in. Yes. So, the same people that I grew up with have been saying, Crystal, please come on, do this again. They are there, and they have been behind me all this time. And I, of course, want to honor what they're saying, but more than anything, I want to honor what's inside of me, what I feel that I have to offer people in that district. And I'm gonna get a little bit nostalgic now. I'm gonna get a little bit nostalgic. When I was runner-up to Miss Texas in 19 blah 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 blah.
Girl, just say 1987.
7.
1987.
1987. I remember I was on stage, and the host, who was then he was very, very famous from the dating game. His name was Bob Eubanks. He said, Crystal, what do you want to do in the future? I said, I want to be a Texas state legislator. And I have got finally, after many years, Rebecca, we found that video. And it's nostalgic, and we even may decide to play it one day, but
Yes.
all things in their proper timing. All things in their proper timing. So I wanted to say that, and without any further ado, I want uh, Kim and Rebecca in just a second. And Kim is getting our lighting together. She is such a perfectionist. But I want Kim and Rebecca, they said, Crystal, we need to interview you. We need to go ahead and go on and interview you. And Rebecca, you told me this, and Kim did the same thing. She said, Crystal, here's what's extremely important. You have been No, I'm going to give a shout out first to my cousin Clayton Mayfield in Beaumont, Texas.
Careful, yeah.
He was one of our very, very dear strategists and supporters during the last campaign. And he said, Crystal, if I can tell you one thing that you need to do, and can you remember what that was, Rebecca? He said, keep your what?
Podcast.
Keep your podcast. Keep your podcast. Keep it consistent, because
You
you
never know
and
what's
you
going to come out of it.
and you never have to tell anyone who you are.
Right.
I don't have to tell anybody who I am. I got receipts.
You don't have to go and scrub
I don't have to-
pages and things.
I don't have any pages to scrub. Everything is up for posterity to see. But I have receipts. So we're going to make sure every last one of those podcasts that has to do with the things that affect your life, the things that we've been through as a community in District 131 in Houston, things that have been near and dear to us, things that have been challenging to us. We've got receipts for all of it. And each week, I'm going to make sure that we have a couple of those podcasts up and going, so that you can see exactly what we've been up to, and you can ask questions. And without any further ado, Kim and Rebecca, why did I volunteer for this? Kim and Rebecca, they decided they wanted to interview me.
I'll
Yes.
go first.
Kim is going to go first. Oh my gosh.
Now, Crystal.
I think I'm ready. Yes, Kim.
All right. Before we jump right into who you are and why you're running, you are actually going to be having your podcast on another format, primarily on another format. So tell us about that.
Well, everybody who has ever been on Facebook, they know that the Facebook rules have changed, and I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying that for what I'm doing and for what we're doing, it may not be the most conducive to getting my message out there like it needs to be. In the coming months, we are not going to abandon Facebook by any stretch of the imagination. However, we're going to be segueing our live to YouTube. So YouTube is going to be the primary live, and Facebook will be the secondary. And that way we get a much broader reach, a much more expanded audience. People from everywhere in the country can chime in and share their thoughts and ideas on what we're talking about and some of the issues that are going on in Texas.
Mhm.
And that's very important. Also, right now, you can also find me on Spotify. You can find me on, oh my gosh, I'm going to pull up the whole list of about 14 different outlets.
Mhm.
And we'll let you know exactly what those are, and we'll put that list up there. And each time that you hear me on the podcast, you will be able to tune in on your radio, on Apple Music, all of them. And you'll be able to, Apple Podcasts, you'll be able to see and index everything that we've ever talked about in one of my podcasts.
Mhm.
And my original podcast was called From the Schoolhouse to the State House.
That's right.
So this,
Oh, yeah, that's right. I even forgot about that.
That's
Now,
right.
you know what? One thing is that with the way the rules are changing on Facebook, in your podcast, you have had several podcasts that have had up to, let's say, 10,000 views.
right?
And because of the new rules that have come out with Facebook,
All of them are scrubbed.
you can't
everything.
see you can't see how many views there have
Yeah.
been or anything.
So what we're doing right now, and we're going through the painstaking task of going and getting, just, by the grace of God, we've got all of our podcast on
Backed up.
backed up, and we're going back into all of those, how many, it's 150 or so, or
More than
more
that in my
podcasts, because we're a weekly podcast that we've done from the very, very beginning, all the way up until now. We've got those, and we're going to be reposting those along with information about the campaign and how you can become a part of the campaign. And especially, I'm talking to my teachers out there, my retired teachers, everyone. My gosh, this is exciting. This is going to be a really exciting campaign for education.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that brings me to my first question. Crystal?
And Rebecca may have a question.
Yeah, Rebecca's going to have questions. There's a lot of questions.
Okay.
on
Okay.
there.
I'm ready for you.
All right, first question, Crystal. What do state representatives do? I think we've gone over this before. What does a state representative do? Can you fix my parking ticket? Can you make food prices lower? Can you make my gas prices lower? What can you do as a state representative?
Okay. That's important.
Can
State representatives have certain boundaries to what they can actually affect in people's lives. State representatives are going to be an area, a legislative area's first point of contact between them and the laws and the governor and the way that the legal proceedings in Texas that affect who you are handled. But as far as fixing tickets, that's out of the jurisdiction of a state representative. As far as handling water issues, I will say this: there are certain aspects of water issues that the state as well as municipalities can work in tandem with to affect. State representatives actually write different types of laws and bills that would affect their particular jurisdiction, and as well as things that could possibly affect other people, especially if it's a collective bill that's being sponsored by more than one representative.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Rebecca.
So in other words, they change laws, right?
They change them. They can amend them. They can actually rescind them if there's enough votes to do so. The laws that are felt to be unconstitutional or that just are not in line with what people in Texas want at this time. Remember, Rebecca, we've got some laws on the books right now that were still on the books from 1836.
Ooh, that was a bad time for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Okay, can a Democratic state representative make a positive change in when the Republicans are in the majority? So we have a majority Republican legislature.
We do.
All the way around.
We do.
From the state house to the state senate
Yeah.
to the governor's,
Yes.
the governor's executive.
We do
So
right now. We do.
can a Democrat come in and make a positive change?
Oh, Rebecca, that is the time when it's most effective for Democrats to come in. And I'm not going to say just Democrats. I'm going to say good legislators who are honest, who are true to their constituents and what their constituents need and want. Because if one thing that we can all attest to has happened here in Texas is that for such a long time, we were really comfortable. We were comfortable people.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, as a teacher, I was comfortable. I was just, everything was great. And there were no natural disasters. And even if there was one, it didn't affect
Everything
us.
was great.
Yeah.
Everything wasn't in the
No.
And
I
it
meant that.
wasn't a breaking news cycle every single day.
Well, yeah, and this is what I mean by everything was great. We felt we were comfortable, okay, and nothing that was being done was being done in a way of such upheaval that it would affect people's lives real time.
Right.
However, within the last 12 years, okay, within the last 12 years, that's been kind of really uprooted by the administration, the current national administration that's in office right now, and
Since 2016.
since 2016. Well, yeah. When things really started to change. But you got to admit, Kim, initially, with that first MAGA regime, a lot of things were just being tested. We're going to look and see what's happening, see how far
The Tea
reaching.
Party was there and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So that was like 2014,
Yeah.
2010, 20.
Okay. So
Yeah,
so
but
twelve years.
my point being, no one tried to grab the rug from under American society. Okay. Now, when you get the rug grabbed from under you, then you got to scramble to figure out how you're going to get your footing.
Right.
And a lot of people have been able to do so, but not in the same way that they did before. A
No.
lot of people have not been able to recover from that. A lot of people have remained very unsteady economically, financially, educationally, wondering how they're going to pay for college, healthcare,
groceries.
daycare. The basic things that people need to be able to survive on a day-to-day basis. And let's be clear, a lot of those things were affected by national programs that undergirded many of the state and many of the systems that we have known since after the Great Depression.
Yes. Yes. So talk about ripping the rug out from under people.
Yeah.
That's when people stop being complacent. I have heard people say that Texas is not a Republican state. Texas is a non-voting state.
And it's heavily gerrymandered.
Yes. And it's non-voting. So when you have those two things put together, then at that point, now that's a recipe for disaster. So you have to get out there and not only vote, because a lot of times people who might not look just like you might be thinking the same way you do.
And Kim, let me state this for the record. I think that everybody needs to hear this clearly. Rebecca asked me a very targeted question. She said, "Can a Democratic candidate, legislator, affect what's going on in a Republican system?" And the best way to affect that, Rebecca, is what we've talked about since 2022. That is actually having a grassroots, like we've never seen it before, campaign to register and get registered voters active, for the ones who are already registered and for the ones who are not registered, to get them on the stick in order to go ahead and get registered to vote, and understand that is the litmus test that we have in this country to change things.
That's right.
That is the tool that we're given.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, as we've said before on this podcast, in the last national election, the Republican had 75 million votes.
Right.
Kamala, the Democrat, had 73.5 million votes. 90 million people didn't vote. So there you go. It's the kind of thing that has to be addressed when it comes to affecting change in our own communities. You can't sit back and say, well, no matter what I do, they're going to just do what they want to do.
I hate to hear.
They're going to do what they want to do anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
I hate to hear that more
It's
than anything
mattering.
else.
Now it's mattering. So when the rug gets ripped out under you, now it's mattering. I always say people don't vote their love. People vote their hate. People vote when things are uncomfortable for them.
And the thing about it is, until, like you said, Kim, until it hits home, people many times don't have a touch point of what it means when your services and the things that you depend on are taken away.
Right.
We were on the phone on our way over here with one of our cousins who said, my Medicaid has changed, and they do not pay for me to have my adult undergarments anymore.
Right.
And this is someone who was in a catastrophic accident
Yes.
while working in a a county job,
Yes.
and this person is no longer mobile.
Right.
They're not able to walk or move around in an unassisted way,
Right.
and little things like that.
Yes.
Rebecca, you've spoken sometimes.
That's a big thing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It is a big thing.
It's a big
You
thing.
know, for people who do not have transportation and a way to get around to source these things themselves.
That's right.
And Rebecca has spoken on more than one occasion of the type of challenge that she anticipates if any of her brother's services are interrupted.
Yes.
So it's not just people with a physical limitation.
Mhm.
It's people who may have developmental limitations.
Yes.
And the things that we depend on, ladies and gentlemen, the things that our tax dollars go into,
Mhm.
these things are not coming from, we're not being given anything.
Right.
Right.
That's the thing. We're not being
we
given
are
anything.
paying.
Absolutely.
We are paying for these
Absolutely.
things. Okay, Crystal. So let's go on to our next question. Okay, Crystal, what do you bring to the table that's different from any other candidate?
Well, first of all, let me say this. Like I was saying before, I was born and raised in District 131.
Mhm.
I have supported District 131 my entire life.
Mhm.
I go to church in District 131.
Mhm.
I have all my family in District 131. It's a special place for me.
Mhm.
One thing that I bring to the table is that I truly have a heart for people who are needing assistance, who may not have a voice or who feel that they don't have a voice.
Mhm.
Even if that means finding out where people can go to get the assistance that they need. I may not be able to do it. If I am able to make that connection for people,
Mhm.
I will certainly do that. But if I'm not able to do that personally, I like the fact that I have forged relationships
Yes.
that would allow me to pick up that phone and say, hey, listen, I'm going to have this person call you because this is what they're experiencing.
Yes.
And I am then that person on the other end will say, please have them call right now.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, that happened as recently as yesterday, Rebecca. And this person I met through Rebecca. And I don't know if she wants us to say her name or not, but she has a wonderful program, Dr. Prieta.
Mhm.
There is a very large senior population
Mhm.
over
Yes.
in the District 131 area
Yes.
because it was one of the first African American communities suburban communities
Mhm.
developed in Houston.
Yes.
And my mother, Rebecca's parents, bought some of the first homes. My
Yeah.
parents and Rebecca's parents bought some of the first homes over there.
That's right.
And they still own homes over there. The person the young lady who I grew up with next door to where I grew up, she still lives there. And she's purchased many of the homes on the block.
Mhm.
And she loves that community.
Mhm.
But one thing is that for those people who are still living there, many of those people in their 70s, 80s, 90s right
Yes.
now, these people are retired
Yes.
and they still are vital.
Yes.
They were running businesses up until
the computer, how they can bank online, how they can text, how they can uh, even navigate social media, right? So for a lot of in a world where there was absolutely none of these things existed. So, so those are some of the things.
They're going to be doing dual credit, aren't they, for high school? For
Not
kids
only
in
doing
high school?
credit, you can also, in some areas, get a 4-year bachelor's degree.
Yes.
And well, it's not called Houston Community College anymore. It's actually called Houston City College because the name has the educational opportunities and traditional opportunities in order for people to have a leg up in society so they can take care of themselves.
Yes, and also for seniors who may not have had a chance to, have further their education
Right.
back when they were, coming up in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, that kind of thing, and they can actually go back to school free.
That's right.
Free.
That's
and
right.
get a college degree or a certification or a college degree absolutely free.
And the thing about it is, you guys, we are a live podcast, so you see some of the technical glitches we can have sometimes, but we got that fixed. But Dr. Prieta I was able to go ahead and connect Dr. Prieta with one of the ladies who's over one of the largest senior organizations in District 131.
Yes.
So that she could go out and actually speak to that organization and let people know about these services.
Right. So, Crystal, basically, what you're like what would be considered like a community activist. You're like a conduit.
I'm a conduit.
You're a conduit.
Yes.
To
Can
the
y'all
community.
explain
What a conduit is.
Okay. The conduit is going to be that person who connects people to
like a
services.
liaison.
Liaison, someone who connects people to people who can get things done, connects people to services, connects people to businesses, highlights businesses on this podcast. So you're a conduit to the community.
Absolutely.
So that's I guess people could say that you're a community activist. So
Yeah.
even though you don't have an elected position right now,
Right.
you have been busy in the past 4 years
Yeah.
in being that community liaison and being that activist.
And that's important. And let me tell you why. Kim, you and I have a mother that will be 90, her next birthday.
Yes.
She's going to hate that we said that, but we said it because if you do the math, that just makes sense. For Kim and I, for our mother.
Or she could have had
Yeah.
Tom and
Yeah,
Tina
well, she
in the-
could.
I'm proud of my
Yeah. But here's the thing. People are not retiring and wanting to retire at 55 and 60 and 65 years old.
They're
like
not
they did
stopping.
30
They're not
years
stopping.
away ago because they're starting new careers.
Millennials, we can't relate.
They're
ready to retire
starting,
at 43.
seriously, they're starting new careers. And when they start new careers, they want to be retrained. They may want to do something that is a digital career. They may want to do something from home where they're online or have a podcast or have something that they're doing that is creative.
Yes, we have an aunt
Yeah.
who is 80 years old, and she's going to be starting a podcast and a YouTube channel
For other 80-year-olds.
Other 80-year-olds
That's
for
right.
seniors. So
That's right.
people are still vital.
And it's extremely important for me that people know that we understand and we value their place in community, we value their experience, and we value the concerns that they have about things that are going to serve them and help them live their very best life at whatever age they are.
Yes, and I know with Crystal and Rebecca also, you all have been there, and sometimes y'all take me with you.
Yes.
But you all have been out there on the ground. You all go and march and you protest things that you don't feel, that you feel.
We go to the Capitol.
You go to the Capitol.
We hold up the signs.
You hold up the signs. You
We go
protest.
We
You
go
speak
speak to legislators.
Absolutely. So you all, like I said, even though you're not in an elected position, your face is out there and you are serving the District 131 community in way for the last 4 years in ways that so many people, do and actually do not know about.
And here's the thing. One thing that I will say about Crystal, and I told Crystal this to her face several times. I told Crystal, because of her platform, I'm able to have one. And I never thought that that would happen in a million years. I have become the teacher guru. I don't know how that happened. Well, yes, I do. But
Teacher advocate.
yeah,
Yes.
so I have been advocating for teachers by teachers. I have had teachers to call me who I didn't even know that knew me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, so not only is she a conduit for other people because of close affiliations like myself, I've started advocacy and people have been reaching out to me. I have a platform now.
Great.
And a voice.
That's awesome. And Rebecca, I always tell you, you could very well do your own thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna push her out of the nest. She'll always be my co-host. But let me say this. There are things that are affecting our community, and because of many of the laws that are in place now, brand new laws that are coming onto the forefront, I hold on to your hats, but our community is going to be hit very, very hard by some of the repercussions of some of these new laws.
Like they said, when the larger community has a cold, let me say this, district 131
Yes.
is going to have pneumonia.
That's right.
And that's for many different things. And that brings us up to our question number 5. You want to hit that one, Rebecca, or you want me to?
You can go ahead and get it.
Okay. So, Crystal, what is your platform? What is your platform? What are you going to be stressing now? Maybe things that are different than you stressed before, or what are you going to be talking about?
I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say that it's the things that are different, because I'm always going to be an advocate for education, public education, and
Yes.
teachers in public education, and the rights of teachers and students in public education, and funding for public education. It's a way that people who talk fast, okay? You got a lot of fast talkers out there who can give you every reason why things like vouchers are going to be just a wonderful, wonderful thing for schools, and a wonderful thing, a choice for parents. However, we can break down, and I've done this many times on this podcast, we can break down that voucher situation and let you know why that's going to be crippling for public schools and crippling for parents. As a matter of fact, Kim, let me just give a basic little scenario here.
There you go.
Okay, for a voucher, let's say that voucher, it was finally decided that it was going to be what, $12,000?
Was it
About
$12,000?
Okay, I think it landed on $12,000.
Is it still a lottery, or is it for anybody who's
It's still it's a lottery, but anyone who wants can put their name in the bucket. Okay,
so if I'm a millionaire, I can put my name in the bucket too for that voucher.
Absolutely.
And just wait a minute though. Let's slow down a little bit.
Okay.
Just because you get chosen in the lottery doesn't mean that you're going to get chosen for the school.
Hang on, wait, I want to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're gonna talk
I
about
think
that.
a lot of people are getting really confused.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing that you got to be so look at so carefully and question everything someone says. If something sounds good, say, you know what? Give me a minute. Google it. Go on to at least 2 or 3 different reputable outlets and see what the actuality of that is. Because hypothetically, if you have a voucher for $12,000, Kim, let's say that I am a parent. I'm a family, with 2 parents in the household.
Yes.
And combined, our income is $60,000.
Okay.
Combined.
Okay.
And we've got 3 kids.
Okay.
We have been wanting the best education for our kids.
That's because we always do.
Absolutely. And lo and behold, the voucher system in Texas is now a reality.
And I got my lottery. I got my voucher lottery.
You got your voucher lottery.
Yay!
You won. Okay. However, and you got your voucher lottery for all 3 kids. Isn't that awesome?
That's amazing.
So you got $36,000 to send your kids to a school of your choice.
I want my kids to go to the same school that, let's say, Greg Abbott's child goes to.
Okay. So let's go ahead and start doing our,
Okay, Cruz's child.
yeah, let's go ahead and start doing our fact finding. So if those students go to a school like, and God love it, St. John's, and I'm just throwing that out there
Mhm.
because that is going to be a school that's one of the best, the schools in best standing in the country
Yes.
academically, and it's going to be one of the most expensive schools in the South.
Mhm.
So we got St. John's that may have a tuition of $50,000 per child.
Mhm.
I did not do my research, so I don't want you to quote me on that.
Right.
I will get that
Right.
information. However,
Mhm.
I'm ballparking it.
Mhm.
$50,000.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to put my 12,000 voucher up front for that. So I'm still gonna be short. How many $1,000?
Ooh.
50,000 minus 12,000.
38.
Okay, I'm still short $38,000. That's for my one child. So $38,000, let's triple that. Okay,
Mhm.
so regardless, and that's just for the tuition. That doesn't have to do with books. That doesn't have to do with uniforms, transportation to school, any type of extracurriculars
How about lunches?
or lunches. No, because remember at somewhere like St. John's, you don't have lunches are purchased. There's not
There's no free lunch.
there's no free lunch program. And God forbid, one of your students needs a special education program. All private schools are not required
None of them are.
to provide. Some of them do, but most of them are not required to provide a special education
Okay,
program.
so what I'm saying is,
Mhm.
you have some that provide it, but they don't have to.
They don't have
So
to.
in the grand scheme of things, none of the private schools have to provide your child with special education services
But
and
Then,
accommodations.
but then here's the thing. We're just to that point. Now, all those things we're gonna pray about it, Kim, and we're gonna say that additional $38,000 times 3 is gonna manifest.
Yes.
Oh, but by the time school starts.
Oh.
So, we're gonna do a GoFundMe, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
But they still gotta take the test to get in there.
Oh boy.
Yes, all of these schools, these are not open enrollment schools.
Mm.
You've got to take the test to get in there. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, they can be very arbitrary in who they want to select to be in their schools.
And not only that,
Yes.
what if there are 100 slots and 5,000 applicants?
Right.
That means that I may or may not get chosen, even though I have my voucher.
So, needless to say, you got a voucher that can you hang on to it, Rebecca? Because you've done your research on this. Can you hang on to it for 4 years? And see if next year you're able to come up with the money, or must that voucher money go back into
Can
the
I
kitty?
stack vouchers? Can I get a voucher one year and then a voucher the next year and then?
And you know what?
If I
He's
say
never
year?
explained that.
Okay,
Okay.
see, that hasn't been explained. And ladies and gentlemen, so here is the situation that we're left with.
Mhm.
We have got, because a lot of people are opportunists,
Mhm.
we've got a lot of people who have come onto the scene who have said, well, I can fill that gap.
Mhm.
So you have these private schools jumping up out of nowhere
Mhm.
who will say, our tuition per year is going to be $12,000. Magic number.
Yay!
Yes.
Now I can use my voucher.
No background in education, no background in accountability,
No certified teachers.
no certified teachers,
Oh.
but they're eligible to receive that type of voucher if they are approved by the state board.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then also, when I was saying that you even went further into detail,
Right.
that school, whether you get the voucher or not, they don't even have to sit down and interview you.
They don't. They can
So you
select.
can have that voucher,
Mhm.
and the school, before you even sit down and take a test, have an interview, that school
Yeah.
will look at you and say, no.
You don't fit the culture of our school.
Right.
Yes.
So
That's
you
right.
can still be sitting here with this $36,000 voucher,
Mhm.
and
For my
the
3
school
kids.
says no.
Mhm.
Right.
And because they are not bound by federal guidelines like
They are not.
education,
They are not.
they can tell you no and not give you
No
an
reason.
explanation why.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
So this voucher system, even though it has been touted as a panacea for parental choice, a lot of times can be a red herring. It can be the kind of thing that is floated out as a wonderful thing, and then the next thing you know, falls flat.
And again, we don't know exactly how this is going to work yet, but when parents are unable to utilize that voucher, is that voucher then put back into the state kitty
Mhm.
and it goes on to the next person who may be drawn and they're a millionaire and they put that particular money towards their students' tuition. And by George, they have 3 kids
Mhm.
and they get to save $38,000. So we take the family to Rome this summer. How about
That's
that?
right. Well,
All on state of Texas.
on the state of Texas, thank you, state of Texas.
Yeah.
In the state of Arizona, which was the first state that actually had a voucher system, a universal voucher system.
Right.
Um, it I think the Phoenix Sun came out with a detailed article on how it works, because initially it was going to be for students who are within certain income levels.
Right.
But they decided to expand it to be universal.
Yes.
Now, here it is, X amount of years later, and the way it is shaken out is that for children who were at a certain income level, let's just say that they were at or near the poverty level, there may have been one child who was able to take advantage of that voucher, let's just say in Phoenix, Arizona. Whereas in Phoenix, Arizona, there may have been 250 children who were already in private schools
Right.
who took advantage of that voucher system. So it has, again, been touted as this wonderful thing for parental choice, but it is a red herring.
And it was modeled after voucher systems in other states where the end result was already known. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
So
knew that it was
much
back
more,
in the hands.
it was much more expensive, astronomically expensive, more expensive than it was thought to be.
Right.
And it helped fewer children than it was anticipated to help. That's how it worked. And instead of Texas saying, great, we get less for our money, serve fewer people, that sounds like a great idea to me.
And ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It effectively has taken money out from public schools. And Rebecca, we got that rainy day fund still sitting there from COVID.
Right.
Okay. And public schools are hemorrhaging over in our district right now. There is a scuttlebutt of even closing some schools because of low enrollment.
And here, and in our district or our former district, they are closing schools.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
Yes.
As a matter of fact,
13 teachers from Sharpstown High School last week were released
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's more than
without a contract. Now how these teachers were hired on to work without a contract, I don't know it. I don't know what was said to them. I don't know how.
Oh, it was
That
they
whole
were,
big thing that came out. Well, a lot of teachers were hired without contracts.
yeah,
what, 2 years
because the
ago?
thing no, the thing was they were hired in good faith. In other words, you go ahead and just work. We're gonna put you in a classroom.
Mhm.
We're gonna work. You're gonna work,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna send you a contract
Mhm.
before you're gonna get the contract.
Mhm.
So you go ahead, start the school year with us.
Mhm.
Do what go in your classroom, go to this particular school,
Right.
Mhm.
and we're going to send you a contract.
However, that contract could be, it doesn't have to be what you sat down and negotiated with the person who was in HR hiring you.
Mhm.
That contract that you were sent, and this happened personally to a friend of mine.
Yes.
And we were already on site at our pre-service. This was the year that the takeover started. We were at our pre-service, and my friend, because she had to leave and go sign, she said, Crystal, I got to go sign my contract. My friend left, and she called me back on her phone about an hour later. She said, Crystal, you're not going to believe this. What I left my job in, I think this is true. I think this is true because this is what I've heard on television. The most elite school district in the state of Texas, which I believe is
A-rated.
Barbers Hill.
A-rated
That's
school
right.
district.
Barbers Hill.
And it is #1 school district in the state of Texas as far as
Yes.
academics.
That's right. That's right. She left a job, and she'd been there for a long time.
Years.
She left a job that was paying her very well because of her expertise and experience.
And let me tell you how wonderful this district is.
Right.
It is a waiting list
Yes.
of teachers. Like if a teacher retired, that same day, another teacher is hired in their place.
And
It's not
usually
even
from referrals.
right. And,
Yeah.
and it's not even,
Yeah.
there's no job listings for this particular district.
So what happened to her?
She left that district. She, in order to come on with this major school district, the largest one in the state of Texas, she had to leave her job because she was promised over $100,000. Okay, she was already making maybe a little bit less than that where she was, but she was promised over $100,000 to come on. She left that job. Of course, she left it in good standing, but because she's a professional. But she left that job and came on into this district. And when she went to sign her contract, she said they put a contract in front of her, and it said, I believe it said $69,000. I think that it did. And she said, wait a minute. This is not what we agreed upon.
Because what they quoted her was the salary in the offer letter. And what people didn't understand, the offer letter and the contract is totally different.
But the thing about it is, when you were made an offer by someone, and a written offer by someone, you are going to hold that as being
Right.
in good faith.
Right. So
Yes.
what the offer letter does, this is what we're gonna pay you. The offer letter basically goes into the contract. So before you get the contract, they give you an offer letter stating
Right.
your salary and all, and it has all to do with just your salary.
Yes.
Your salary, and then because what's in that offer letter is what's going to be in the contract.
Yes.
So before you even get to the contract, they give you the offer letter
Mhm.
so you can say, oh, okay. You can say, yes, I'm gonna take it. No, I'm not.
Of course. Yes.
So they pulled the old bait.
They sure did. And she was so angry that, and she had not joined the teachers union yet. She had to immediately join the teachers union. And we all know that at that point, the teachers union was inundated by different people with all sorts of problems of what was going on. Long story short, the district lost thousands and thousands of teachers.
But that's not even what happened
Yes.
this time. According to
Yes.
the news, what actually happened this time. See, she at least got a contract in front of her.
Right.
What these teachers went through, they didn't even get a contract in front of them. They were told, hey, go ahead. They had onboarded and everything. And they were told at onboarding, some of them
Right.
were told at onboarding, hey, y'all just don't worry about your contracts. They're coming. They're coming. Just go to your particular schools and teach. And the
Right.
reason that happened was simply because the superintendent of this largest school district doesn't like embarrassment from the media.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna say, okay.
Yeah, he doesn't like embarrassment from the media. So he didn't want vacancies exposed. He didn't want any of these things exposed.
Right.
So instead of just doing right by teachers and sending them through the onboarding process, giving them their contracts at the onboarding process, he told them just go in the classroom and teach.
So, and here's the thing. Now, as we can listen to Crystal and Rebecca,
Right.
the passion for teachers and for this state to do right by teachers
Yes.
is absolutely there, and it is essential. And that is one of the main things on your platform.
On my platform. And the thing about it is, I'm going to tell you something, Kim. There are a lot of people out here in different races that are, running for different reasons. I cannot, say how, what anyone else is running for, but, and what their experience is. But my experience is that of a boots on the ground classroom teacher every day. I just left the classroom about 2.5 hours ago. So I see in real time exactly what my colleagues are up against. I am a building steward for the American Federation of Teachers at, in my district. And I hear the complaints. I see the types of things that teachers are constantly taking to, are being challenged with, and the way that we have to try to sit down and mediate and make these teachers happy and make them feel as though that they are valued.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
here's how this applies to Crystal, right? Not trying to take it away, but I'm just trying to give people insight to what's going on. This is how it applies to Crystal in her seat. Because right now, in the largest school district in the state of Texas, there is a state takeover. So what ended up happening is they dissolved the elected board that
Right.
Houstonians went and cast ballots for
Right.
in our local election.
Yes.
That board was removed behind some amendment changes in bills.
Right.
Hear me when I say some amendment changes in bills.
Right.
Crystal's job would be to go there and pass those bills.
That's right.
Change those amendments.
That's right.
Because those amendment changes were changed and sent to the Senate, and it was the kerfuffle at the Senate, and they switched it to where they wanted to be.
Right.
They passed it. So that gave permission for the state to go in and remove an elected board, which disenfranchised voters who went
Right.
to the polls
Right.
to vote to get a board put in that was specifically handpicked by the governor and his cronies. So now we're in a
Yeah.
situation now where the state of Texas is heavily involved in this district.
Right.
So what does that mean for teachers? Their rights have been stripped.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it trickles down to parents and children, and how
Yes.
this is affecting parents and
And
children.
the thing about it is, and you know what is so humiliating is the way that teachers and parents are addressed and treated. A bond did not pass last year of $4 billion bond?
Billion with a B.
A $4 billion bond did not pass last year. That was presented by this state-appointed board. And the only recourse that Houston, every school in Houston could use extra money. Every school in Houston could use
That was
better curriculum.
that was every city of Houston saying, we don't like this.
No, that's saying we don't like this board that's
We
been
don't
placed
like
in
this
front of
board.
us.
We don't like
The money,
person in charge.
and we are not going to allow that to be the stewardship of our money. And I absolutely, positively get it.
So now you have
Yes.
a situation here in the city of Houston,
Yes,
going back to what Crystal, how this ties back to Crystal.
right,
You have a situation in the state of Texas. Now, I will give credit to where credit is due. The
Right.
representative who used to hold the seat, who is now retired,
yeah,
she was one of the ones who voted against them doing this. She was one of the ones who spoke out. Alma Allen. She was the one that spoke out against it, trying to get some understanding, trying to get some clarification. But and she really was on the front lines for HISD teachers and educators. But by then, because of what happened at the Senate level, it was already too late.
and Rebecca, here's the thing, people can stomp their feet and be angry or whatever, but here's the thing. It's so vital that we take a cue from others who are in office right now. Take a cue from them on how to get things done. It doesn't matter how loudly you scream. It doesn't matter how hard you stomp. If your voters are not coming out of their house in order to cast that ballot, and that's where the buck stops.
Preach.
That buck stops right there.
Right, the ballot
And
box.
the people who are in charge of, who are sitting there right now, the appointed board, you better believe that their people who they elect, they do whatever is grassroots necessary to get their voters out and to keep them out even when things are good.
Okay, now, let me slide and segue into a different subject
Yes.
that is extremely important right now, not only in the state of Texas, but across the country.
Right.
Um, very shortly, and I would say at the end of 2026,
Yes.
there will be a huge Medicaid cut.
Right.
The aim of the big, beautiful BS bill was to cut $800 billion from Medicaid.
Right.
Now, the way they are doing this is actually by saying that so many individuals who don't deserve to be on Medicaid are going to be cut. They are actually painting these individuals
Yeah.
as bums. Okay,
Yeah.
In order to make people,
Loafers, people
yeah, in
who
order
feed
to
off
make
the government.
that's right. In order
Yeah.
to make people believe that, you know what, our money is not being spent well, and they're saying that, you know,
That
we're
illegal,
gonna have
that illegal aliens are signing up for Medicaid.
that
You
yeah,
know,
all that stuff.
ladies and gentlemen, if it sounds far-fetched, research it.
Yeah,
If a person goes in to apply for Medicaid, one of the first things they ask them is if they're a citizen, if they have a social security card.
Yeah,
If
you
can't
can't
just
state,
hand
you
it.
can't get federal aid or state
Right.
aid if you're not a citizen.
and I have heard so many people. I've
Yeah.
seen so much on social media, and people were stomping their feet. I don't want my money to go to undocumented people. It's not. It never has.
Now,
Just because, hold on, just
Mhm.
because you see somebody in a grocery store speaking Spanish, and you know they're using a SNAP benefit card, a
doesn't
Lone
mean they're
Star
not a
card,
citizen.
or if you see somebody in a hospital that's speaking Spanish and they have Medicaid, does not mean they're not a citizen. You can't just look at someone and determine that. And what is happening right now is that at the end of 2026, those cuts are going to come in force. They're saying that we want to have everybody who is receiving Medicaid, they have to be in certain categories, children, over 65, that kind of thing. It's lots of, you know, several different categories. And people who are receiving it have to have, be at least have 80 hours at least on a job, working on a job, or in a training program, or in school, or taking care of a child. Now, here's the thing. As of right now, 92% of Medicaid recipients already fill that bill.
Right.
They are working for 92% are working either full or part-time. They're already fulfilling this. That's just like saying, I'm going to give Medicaid only to people who are wearing blue shirts.
We would get it.
We're already hitting on blue
Yeah.
shirts. We don't have to go out and buy a blue shirt to do this. You know, so that's one of the big things.
Yeah.
And so where are these cuts going to come from? Mind you, make no mistake,
Right.
that they are going to come out of the checks for Medicaid that people are already having. For SNAP benefits, that was another thing on the chopping block. SNAP benefits are going to be cut.
WIC, which is part of Medicaid, you know.
It is going to be cut from
Yes.
your check.
Yes.
That $800 billion is not coming out of the 8% of people who are not already fulfilling the obligations. It's not going to work that way.
Yes.
Rural hospitals, Medicaid is going to be cut from, you know, the coffers of rural hospitals and what
rural
they
hospitals
receive.
are already closing.
Already closing.
Already closing.
Many hospitals in the country, and I'm sure in the state of Texas, people might have to drive 100 miles to get to the nearest
And what if
hospital.
you have an emergency?
See,
And
all
the
of
thing,
this.
yeah, the thing about it is when you think about how things are presented to you,
Mhm,
how things are presented
mhm.
by certain individuals, they would have you think only certain people are the benefactors of certain programs. But I was watching a podcast, Kim,
Mhm,
about, I'm going to say maybe about 2 weeks ago,
mhm.
and it simply chronicled what was going on right now in Appalachia.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so many 90, I think it was effectively 90% of the people who were in this particular area of Appalachia, it had been a coal mining town for hundreds of years.
Mhm.
The coal mines kind of dried up or it became unstable.
They closed.
Yeah, for coal to be mined there anymore.
They closed.
Well, during the Obama administration, a program was set forth where it was targeted at those particular people. We're going to send in a program to get you retrained in technical jobs so that it would be a seamless transition from you going from the coal mines to these technical jobs.
Mhm.
And jobs in computers, jobs in technology.
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Coding.
overwhelmingly, the community rejected that. They said, well, my father's a coal miner, my father's father was a coal miner, and that's all I want to do.
Mhm.
But when the automobile is being built and all the horses are being taken away and the buggies are being taken away and replaced by, an automobile, what are you going to do? Are you going to be the lone one in the town with the horse and the buggy and people are speeding by you? You've got to think about what your end game is.
Yeah.
And these poor people were there in Appalachia some 15 years later.
Mhm.
90% of the people, they did not look like you and me. Okay? They were recipients of state-funded help and government-funded help. And the entire towns are closed down. They had one little hospital that looked like it may have had 15 beds in it, and it was closing. The doctors move out.
Mhm.
They don't want to be there because it won't sustain their practice.
Right.
You have nurseries for children, that close. I mean, effectively, these towns are really becoming ghost towns.
Right.
Because of the fact that there's nothing there to help sustain them anymore.
Right.
Now,
Mhm.
these people are ones and they interviewed one of the guys who lived there, and this particular host said, how do the people here survive? And the host said they're on checks or
Person who was interviewed.
yeah, the person who's interviewed, they're checks or they're on drugs or checks. One or the other, drugs or checks. And some of them, he said, most of them, start that at the age of 18. They end up being on a check.
Mhm.
Now, we created a problem by society created a problem by not expressing how important it was to start diversifying what you were doing 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
Okay, we kind of created that problem. And when the problem manifested, now we've got a situation that we have got to try to clean up in some way. How do you begin cleaning that up? You have, and one of the residents there said, this is the heart of the oxycodone and the meth, the people who, that was the
Yes.
epidemic. It was the
Yes.
heart of it.
That's
So
right
you've
there in
got,
Appalachia.
right, in Appalachia, this was West Virginia,
Mhm.
this was Kentucky,
Yes.
and places like this. And
Mhm.
like I said again, the people won't look like you and me, Kim,
Mhm.
but it doesn't matter what they look
But
like.
also too, but also too, what I found out, a lot of those people were lied to by politicians, right? Let's
Yeah.
call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
Because the prevailing view was we're going to bring the coal miners back. We are not. We're going to ban. We're
no,
not.
but see, Rebecca, here's the thing.
We're not going to
Here's
ban.
the thing. You can't bring the coal miners back when the topography is interrupted and
You
crushed like it was.
you know that.
Yeah.
You know that. I know that. Kim knows that. I don't
If,
care about
if
that.
I'm desperate, I don't care. Somebody can lie to me, and I'm gonna say, "Yay, I'll vote for you,"
Yeah.
because it sounds good.
Yeah.
Because
And-
I'm desperate.
Right, and because this is the only livelihood that we know.
That's right.
So now that I'm a politician and I'm wanting votes to go
Right.
sit in a seat, I'm gonna tell you whatever I need to tell you in
Yeah.
order to get those votes.
Yeah.
Knowing darn well that I can't bring any of that back, but I'm gonna tell, and that's what happened.
Okay.
A lot of the politicians were going around of one particular party. I hate it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I said,
You can.
Can I say
You
it?
can.
The Republican Party.
Yeah, we're going around and telling people, "Oh, we're not going to ban fracking, and we're going to bring your your coal mines back." We have a president right now. The reason he's in office right now because he promised a segment of people in the
Those
Midwest
same people.
that factories were coming back, and they believed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now let's bring it back to Texas.
Right.
Okay. So Medicaid, your
Yeah.
Medicaid, if you're on Medicaid at the end of 2026, starting 2027, your Medicaid check is probably going to be cut.
Yeah.
Don't get sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Your SNAP benefits will probably get cut.
Don't be hungry.
Don't be hungry. All right. Your rural hospital, you might close up. Again, don't get sick, don't get hungry, and make sure you got a car to drive.
And
Because
that,
you're
and
gonna have
that,
to get somebody else.
And don't get in a car accident either.
yeah.
Then you're gonna have to go. You're going back to that. Don't have a baby,
And don't have a family to feed.
and
don't
don't
have
and
a family to
don't
feed.
get pregnant, and don't have a baby because
Right.
if you are in crisis, all right, that 100-mile trip is gonna get real long.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: in the state of Texas,
Yeah.
Texas did not. Back when COVID funds were used to expand Medicaid, Texas said no, we don't want it. Many of the red states said, no, we don't want that because it's coming from the Biden administration.
Right.
Okay. So that means that Texas now and then and has for a long time
Yes.
had more uninsured people than any state
In the
in the
union.
entire country.
Right.
More uninsured people do not have health insurance.
Yes.
Now we have more unemployed people
Right.
than any state in the entire country, more than New York, more than California,
Yes.
more than, we just have more.
Absolutely.
So now, and here's the glitch. I've heard people who are Republican people,
Yeah.
denigrate people who are on Medicaid and say, those people need to just go ahead and
Get a job.
get a better job. If you have a job and you're driving DoorDash and they're only driving for a certain period of time so they can still keep their Medicaid. Okay, so now you have to have a choice of keeping your health insurance
Right.
or making going a little bit further. Now here's the thing. Depending on how you are categorized, you might have a limit of making, let's just say $15,000
Yeah.
in order to qualify for Medicaid.
Yeah.
Now, we have the Affordable Care Act,
Right.
which is wonderful.
Yes.
The Affordable Care Act has allowed 20 million people.
I was on it for a little while.
Shoot, I've been on it as self-employed people.
A lot of
You've been on it.
self-employed people, entrepreneurs. Yes,
Yes,
this is the way that they were able to get insurance.
Exactly, and that was
Yes.
us for many,
Yes.
many years.
When we
Now,
had the television network.
exactly. So now, the income limit for HCA may have been, let's just say, $20,000.
Right.
So if you make more than $15,000 and less than $20,000, there is this gap,
Right.
and that is the gap that so many people fell into.
That's right.
In the state of Texas because Medicaid wasn't expanded. That is why
Yes.
we have more uninsured people than anywhere
Other
else in the
states.
country.
That's right.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
At the end of this year, the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, which is also colloquially called Obamacare, those subsidies legislators have to vote to keep those. And that's in Congress. They have to vote to keep those. The president of this United States
Right.
does not want that. He hates Affordable Care Act. He hates Obamacare because
Because of the name.
they call it
It's not-
Obamacare.
It's not that it's not helping save people's lives, helping people afford medical care who could not afford it before, especially since it covers pre-existing conditions.
20
Yes.
million people, if they decide to not vote to continue the subsidies, which is the subsidies actually make it affordable.
Right.
That's what makes it affordable.
Yes.
If they vote to end subsidies, that means you might be initially paying right now, let's just say $50 a month
Right.
for Obamacare.
Right.
And now when those subsidies are cut, now you might be paying $400 a month for Obamacare. Now,
So effectively, you cannot, you're gonna end up uninsured.
you're going to
Yeah.
end up uninsured because most people, if they can only afford $50 for health insurance, they're not going to be able to afford $400 for health insurance.
Right.
So that means when those subsidies, run out, now instead of 20,000 people, 20 million people under who are insured, now the country is going to have probably 20 million people, additional people who are uninsured. In the state of Texas, it has been estimated that 5 million people in the state of Texas
Yes.
are going to lose their health insurance.
So let's wrap that up in a nice tight bow, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means for Texas and Texas voters and Texas residents, Texas school children, the elderly in Texas, the disabled in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
those who are moving to Texas.
Mhm.
What that means is that Texas is going to effectively be put in a place where we're going to be one of the states that has the lower of amenities for people to be
We
in.
already do. We
Yes.
number 43 in
Yes.
healthcare.
You're
Yeah.
going to have the haves and the have-nots.
And is that really, really what we want? Now, Kim, let me say this,
Mm-hmm.
and I say this to you and Rebecca all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is this, and this is what statistics have proven time and time again. When people are able to achieve the pinnacle
Mm-hmm.
of their ability, of their mental acuity, when they're able to get the education that will take them to the highest that they can achieve,
Mm-hmm.
they don't cross their arms and puff up their cheeks and go run to a corner. What they do is it makes them inquisitive, it makes them thinkers, it makes them creators, and they begin to create opportunities for other people.
That's how it works.
Yes. So it's not like there is a finite amount of opportunities out there. Why are there some people in society who are trying to keep opportunities away from people? If opportunities are there for everyone and they're able to get to a certain place, they're going to be the creators of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Why would anyone want to be the only one creating jobs? The only one,
Well, it's like Kim said a couple of weeks ago, it's a zero-sum game.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Equitable and equality sounds like oppression to people who have privilege.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
And here's
So if I have,
Go ahead. Yeah.
so if I've been afforded
Mm-hmm.
this particular thing
Mm-hmm.
for generations and generations and generations,
Right.
why would I want to share it?
But you don't have to share it. I'll create my own.
No. You're not thinking from a personal.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't want you
From a
to,
place of fear.
right.
Yeah.
I don't want you to have it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to create
If you have it, that might mean that you are competing with me
exactly
for my little share of what I have.
right.
Now, to you, it's like I'm gonna
I'm
make
not
my
even
own land.
thinking. I'm not even thinking about you at that point.
But-
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Oppression,
I didn't think
equality sounds like oppression to privileged people.
that is true.
They feel oppressed because now you're infringing and wanting
On
something.
territory that I should only be treading.
I should be the only one doing it.
Yeah.
I should be the person who is able to have health care. So you should not. So I'm going to make sure I vote for the person who is going to say, no, you're not going to have health care. Now, I've seen some commercials on TV from a Republican candidate, and they're saying, vote for me. I have voted. I am protecting your health care. It's a lie.
Yes.
People, it is a lie. They
And-
are not voting to protect your health care. And that does not mean everybody is on Medicaid. That doesn't
That's
mean
not right.
everybody's on SNAP benefits. That means that if someone is having to have that, what is it? Almost 10% of the country is.
Yes.
So that means that those particular people are not going to be able to have those things. And somebody is telling them that I'm the person who is giving those things to you, and it's not true.
And how this falls
Yeah.
back on Crystal, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
we want to keep this in perspective.
Right. Let's.
Because the governor of the governor of the United States, governor of Texas,
Right.
governor of Texas,
Yes. Mhm.
doesn't like to bring a lot of things to the voters.
Mhm.
Yes.
Fact,
Yes.
he avoids the voters at all costs if
Right.
he can.
Right.
So if things are not brought for the voters to vote on, then who votes on them?
Right.
That goes back to the legislature.
Yes.
They bring everything to the and in a lot of instances, that's not how it's supposed to work.
Right.
You know, a lot of instances,
Especially
they-
important measures.
right?
Yes.
They debate the bill. They debate. They go, then they take it to the Senate, and the Senate debates it,
And everybody gets a little bit of what they want.
Right.
You don't have.
and then and if they still can't come to a resolution, then they bring it to the voters to see what the voters want.
Right.
Well, we have a governor that's in power right now that doesn't care about what the voters want.
That's right.
His only main concern is the person that's sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yes.
That
So
is true.
anytime there is these amendments, these bills, these subsidies that's supposed to go back to the states
Yes.
for the states to vote, because they don't come to the voters, they go to the legislature.
Yes.
This is why Crystal wants to be a part of the legislature.
Absolutely.
So that she can have a say on
Yeah.
her constituents. She can have a say for her constituents,
Yes.
since they're not allowed to say themselves.
And the thing about it is, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you are the ones who own these jobs.
Yes.
There is no one sitting in Austin right now who owns that position. That is not theirs for ownership. You are the people who place those people in those positions, and you are the people who can take them out of those positions, or you are the people who can change those positions. So, for me, it is very important that when things need to come to the voters, things like women's health care, things like that are actually costing people their lives.
Yes.
When things need to come to the voters, we need to allow the voters to express how they feel.
Yes.
And know that whoever is representing you, if it does come back to the legislators to make that decision, know that whoever is representing you is going to speak in your best interest.
That's right.
Yes.
That's absolutely right. Now, Crystal, District 131 is very diverse.
Yes.
Very diverse.
Right.
It encompasses some of like what, Fort Bend? Does it encompass?
No, it doesn't encompass Fort Bend. It's
No.
going to encompass a lot of A-Leaf, a
A-Leaf.
lot of Southwest Houston,
West Houston.
which is a true cornucopia of cultures.
Yes.
And it's so important that we get those people who are in these particular areas to chime in as far as the things that they have challenges with in their areas and the things that their communities need. And I don't know if anyone from this particular district, 131, has even attempted to be a conduit to bring those communities in.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, you have a huge South Asian community.
Huge.
You have a huge Asian community.
African.
You have a
community.
huge African community. You have a huge Caribbean community and Hispanic community. And those are the things, those are the communities that, bring revenue and affect the economy in these areas. And they need to be recipients of these services. And they need to be sitting at the table when decisions are made about their communities.
Okay, Crystal, are you going to reach out to some of these communities?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm saying right now, if anyone is sitting as a part of any of those communities and they would like to come on here or have any of their organizations come on and ask me about my position and what I would want to do to help affect change in their communities, I am putting that offer out there. I would love to sit with those communities because there may be even many that we haven't mentioned.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, good. That's wonderful that you are going to invite people in order to see how people's interests overlap.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I haven't seen anybody in District 131 doing it at all. That's just me.
Yes,
All right. Now,
I
Crystal.
agree.
All right. Now, Crystal. Let's see.
How do you tackle race and religion in this?
Woo. Okay. Well, now.
Hit your points first, and then if we have a
Okay.
little time, we can do the
Okay.
rest of
All
us.
right. Yeah. Because we're gonna. This is a special segment.
Yeah.
So it might run a little long.
And we may tackle some of those things that Rebecca just said
Yeah.
in segments of their own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Leading up to the election.
Exactly. And the thing about it, race and religion, well, we know in the greater Houston area, we are the most diverse in the entire country.
Right.
Speaking of that, let me touch on this a little bit because I had to have this conversation with my students. As of September 1st, in the state of Texas, many districts decided to go ahead and make sure that they had posted in every classroom, K through 12, a copy of the Ten Commandments.
Mhm.
That has gotten held up in legal proceedings with some,
Court injunction.
with some districts who, did not want to go forward with that. And I sit in my classroom, I have I'm going to say at least 10 different ethnicities in each class that walks in and out of that classroom.
Yes.
To post anything that is prescribing to one as opposed to the other of those particular ethnicities and religions is really disrespectful to the others who are sitting in there, unless you are going to have tenets of each of those religions posted in your classroom.
That's
and
right.
have discussions about them.
And by the way, it's unconstitutional.
Yes.
I'm just saying, I'm
Yeah.
throwing that in.
Yeah,
First Amendment.
absolutely.
Check it out. Okay. And of course, I always have my little pocket constitution with me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
It's in my
She-
purse.
I didn't pull it out, but she didn't pull out that Constitution today. Thank you,
But
Kim.
normally I would have.
Yes, you would
Okay.
have.
Now, Crystal,
Yes.
you have a great platform here.
Thank you.
You have people who are, who are faithful viewers.
Yes.
People, when you repost things, people might not be here watching live, but boy, do they look when you repost it and share
Yes,
it.
they do.
So
They do.
yeah,
They do.
so now because Crystal is running for office, she's going to be fundraising.
Absolutely, I am.
And because she's fundraising, she's going to be doing things and
In the community.
in the community, she's going to be letting you know about different things on the
Yes.
channel, so you can have an opportunity to give to Crystal's campaign.
Yes, because this is gonna be a grassroots campaign, Kim.
Yes.
This is going to be, I don't have the heavy hitters who are funding me. I would love to have you heavy hitters. We're talking to you too. We would love to have you help support us. However, this is going to be an Obama-like campaign
Mhm.
where it's $5 here, $10 here, and all of those add up.
Mhm.
We want to make sure that even more than that, Kim, it's so important, and we appreciate all of those
Yes.
little bits that come in, because that's how we were able to get as far as we were the last time.
Yes.
That's how we were, and people shook their head and they were saying, "How in the world did y'all do it? How can you do it?" Well, you know what? We decided that we were going to do it, and then we decided how we get it done.
Yeah.
And that's the way that's the way I've always lived my life.
Yeah.
I don't let anything that has to do with, financial ability or the lack thereof stop me from doing what I'm going to do.
Step off that cliff and you build a parachute on the way down.
That's right. That's right. But Kim, I want people to know that if they are members of organizations, if they go to certain churches and they would like for me to come in, I talk to you and Rebecca just like I talk to everybody else. And the things that we're talking about and the things that affect your life are the things that I would like to sit down and talk to your congregation about, your organization about.
Mhm.
How can your organization benefit from having a better District 131?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, and also because this is the 21st century campaign, Crystal is going to be heavily on social media.
Yes.
Heavily on social media. So she started with Facebook.
Yes.
Now things are going to YouTube, and then we have different kind
Instagram.
of podcast platforms and
Yes.
things like that, Spotify, what
Yes.
have you. She's going to be on Instagram. She's
Yes.
going to have a TikTok channel.
Yes.
Yes.
And we have the son of one of my best friends who is he is just a tech guru. And he said, "Hey, listen, I want to be involved." And I said, "I would love to have you. Thank you, thank you, thank you." Because
Yes, young
yes.
people, getting young people involved.
Kim, I gotta throw this out there. I gotta throw this out there. If you are a counselor at a school, at a high school, every counselor at high schools in Texas, aren't they deputized as Rebecca, as voter registrars?
Not anymore.
Okay.
That's
Well,
off the table.
okay. Well, let's say this. Every principal, if you would like to become a deputy registrar, you can still do that. It is free. You can go online with the Harris County Clerk's Office and become deputized to register voters. Think about this. If every graduating senior was registered to vote before they walked across that stage, and if it was emphasized in their social studies, government, economics classes, how important it is to have your finger on the pulse of the decisions that are being made for your life, we would have a different country right now.
Absolutely.
We'd have a different country.
And the thing about it, so many people that we're trying to reach are the people who don't vote. The
Right.
people who are voting Republican, the people who are voting Democrat, they're in their camps. They're not changing their minds. You know, we're not trying to drag people from one.
Yeah.
No. But the people who are the non-voters are the people that Crystal is going to be trying to
That
reach.
can affect the change for this country.
That's right. Young
Yes.
people are generally
Non-voters.
non-voters. And
We gotta change that.
So that's
Gotta
right.
change that.
So you got to meet them where they are. Talk about things that's going to affect them.
Absolutely.
You know, young people who may be in their early 20s who might have gotten student loans and fallen behind on student loans.
They're getting ready to garnish your wages for the student loan.
If
Oh,
you have
not just garnish your wages
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
They even took it 3 steps further. They're saying now they're gonna put a lien on your house. If you don't
Wow.
pay in a certain time, they're going to put a lien on your cars, your personal property. They are going to, and he's making it so he's trying to punish college educated people.
Yeah,
so bad.
that's what it is.
Yeah, that he says that if you can't pay your student loan, your whole livelihood should be stripped from you.
Well, and here's the thing too. That's why it's so important when we bring people like Dr. Prieta in here, who literally sat at this table and gave us options as to how people could become educated and gain college degrees, and it ends up being without cost to them.
Right.
People need to know about those kind of things.
Yeah, exactly. So these low propensity voters, those are
Yes.
the ones that do not vote. They're the ones who set it out this last time in the election. And you know,
This is a repercussion of sitting it out.
This is what has happened. So all of these things that are happening, you know what? In some way, it might be good to just kind of slap people in the face, because
Yes.
if you've been just kind of sitting and complacent for the last, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, something like
Yes.
that, and now all of a sudden, you're going to get your wages going, your livelihood taken away, your health insurance taken away, you're not going to have as much food on the table, all that kind of stuff. You know what?
And you may have to go back to work if you're on Social Security in order to make ends meet.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know what? In Social Security, because I'm on Social Security now, all right, you cannot make any more in income over and above your Social Security check than $24,500. So
That almost leaves people in poverty
no,
level.
23,500. Yeah. So that means that whether you get a Social Security check that is $800 a month,
Yeah.
or you get a Social Security check that's $5,000 a month, you still cannot make any more in income than $23,500 or $24,500.
So basically, your ability to thrive is locked in
That's
that
right.
point. So
That's right.
so it's not
And the
being
prevailing
encouraged.
view
Yes.
for that is you because we have so many octogenarians that's in
Absolutely.
Congress,
Yes.
and I think the oldest man that's in Congress right now is 98 years old.
Yes.
And he just announced that he's running for another term. And
Wow.
he's 98. Chuck Grassley is running
Yes.
for another term
Yeah.
in office at 98.
Yes.
So because of these things are happening,
Yes.
this is important for the public to know.
Right.
Because all of these octogenarians, and there's nothing wrong with that, but because a lot of them are still in office and still in working, they believe that everybody should be doing it. So
that's a blessing to be able to work until that point. But everybody that doesn't, is not blessed with that type of help.
but they're
Right.
also are very out of touch with reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they've been sheltered for so long.
And
Right.
to put that lock on how much you can make, because I put it like this: if you go in and you are a greeter at Walmart or whatever, and you make over a certain amount, now number one, they might not let you work full time, because
Yeah.
at that point they'd have to pay you insurance.
Right.
So that's why a lot of people who work at Walmart are on Medicaid.
That's right.
Okay, I don't know
That's
if y'all seen that in the news lately, but I mean,
Yeah, because now they're upping the retirement. Come on, millennials.
Yes.
Because
uh-huh.
they're upping. No. They got right now on the books. It's already passed the House. They're debating it in the Senate now.
Mhm.
70.
Well, 70 is not the official retirement age. 70 is the age that you can work to get full Social
Right.
Security. It's two different
Right.
things.
Yeah.
So to get full Social Security is 70. Your retirement age, where you can start getting Social Security unless you go for early retirement,
Right.
is 67, or it's like 66.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Something
Well,
like
that's
that.
what I'm saying, Kim.
So,
So
yeah.
up all of that
Yeah.
to
Now,
70.
what they're trying to say is that, okay, for seniors, we're going to give you a $6,000 tax credit. Okay, now that is, let's see, I think of that $6,000 tax credit for seniors who are, there might be, I think, 15% of the country or something
Who
like
qualify.
that who qualifies. Again, a red herring. It seems like a great idea,
And that everyone is going to be
until
eligible.
you look.
Yes.
And not everyone is eligible. Some people make too little. Some
Yes.
people make too much. So you're only going to have a small pool that are actually eligible to be able to have that $6,000 tax credit. So red herring. Okay.
Yes.
So
And Kim, let me, for the people who actually remember when I ran in the election the last time,
4 years ago.
they remembered I had a particular campaign theme.
mhm.
And that campaign theme was Rosie the Riveter. Okay. And, let me talk a little bit about Rosie the Riveter and why that was so fitting for my campaign.
Mhm.
And we're going back with that Rosie the Riveter campaign theme again.
Mhm.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to roll up our sleeves,
That's right.
get in there with unpolished nails, and get those proverbial planes built. Okay.
Yeah.
So, back in the 1940s, when all of the men had gone off to war in World War II, the U.S. factories were still having to operate. They
Yes.
were still in operation, but there was no one to work in the factories.
No men.
No men to work in the factories.
Mhm.
And, the prevailing viewpoint was that a woman's place is in the home.
Yeah.
However, in order to, it's amazing how necessity has to be the mother of invention
Yes.
many times, because women had to come out of those kitchens, come out of those washrooms, come out of those homes, on their knees, cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids, and go and fill in at those positions that the men had left.
That's right.
And those women worked tirelessly. Those women did sometimes 3 times the work of a man. Then they went home and took care of their kids.
Mhm.
Those women caught on quickly,
Mhm.
and they made sure they jumped in and they did not miss a beat. During this campaign, we have to make sure that, and I will make sure that I am jumping in. My position is going to be a little bit different because we're going to have to start swimming when we hit the water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because of some of the things that have been done. But I know that it's not going to be a time to stop and celebrate. It's going to be a time to go directly to work. You know how some people, when they get married, they say we got to do the honeymoon later.
Mhm.
So you know, with people like me in this position, and a lot of people who are coming in who are going to be trying to do the work of reversing some of the things that are in order right now. We're gonna be not be doing 40 hours a week. We're gonna be doing 80.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Mhm.
like Rosie the Riveter, it's time to roll up our sleeves,
Mhm.
to get in there and to make it happen and to keep doing it.
Yep, exactly. That's why on that poster, when you see Rosie the River, that was one of the posters that the U.S. government used to recruit women
Yes.
in order to come into the factories and work.
Yes.
They had their hair, instead of having their hair all down and stuff like, they had their hair in a little scarf. They had their
Yes.
sleeves rolled up. They were strong women, and they
Yes.
said, "We can do it." And that's what
Absolutely.
Crystal is going to be. That is her campaign slogan. We can do it. So some people might be familiar with it from something that an advertisement that Beyonce did. So
Yes.
that's this generation. They get Beyonce. They don't necessarily get
Yeah.
Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
People who are in parents' generations, our parents' generations, they get Rosie the Riveter.
Oh yeah.
No matter how you come to Rosie,
Yes.
you can still be a Rosie.
Absolutely.
When we marched in the parade the last time,
We were all dressed as
dressed
Rosie
as
the Riveter,
Rosie the Riveter.
and people got it. So Kim, for the people who may not be really familiar with what we're talking about, I'm gonna show you right now. That is my Rosie the Riveter. That was the promo that came on today. So that's our Rosie the Riveter costume, and what you'll see on all of the, and it's gonna be a theme that runs throughout all of our branding. Everything will be that. And my motto is going to stand,
Mm-hmm.
and that is, if you can read this sign, thank a teacher.
There you go.
If you can read this sign, thank a teacher. And that, Kim, is the story of Rosie the Riveter.
That's
Yes.
right. The posters are going to be going up. The billboards are going to be going up in all the neighborhoods.
Yes.
For
in
all the
131.
communities in 131. There, we had them up in Spanish the last time.
That's right.
Spanish and English. This time there might be something
In
in
Vietnamese.
Mandarin.
Yes.
Might be something that you know. There might be something in Urdu. You know.
That's right.
There's going to be a lot of people seeing Rosie, and they're going to understand that Rosie is not just that. Rosie is speaking to them.
And Rosie means it's time to work.
That's right. It's time to work.
It's time to work.
That's right. Rosie wants you to come in and have a voice.
That's right.
Mhm.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put this out there, and you'll start seeing a whole lot more information coming up daily about people to volunteer for this campaign. We need you, and we're going to have a volunteer meeting next Saturday. All of the information is going to be shared on my page. It's going to be shared with all of my social media. But as far as to the address and the time and everything, this will be only the first of many meetings that we'll have. But we want to get the community on board, because this is for you.
Crystal's going
Yes.
to give you the email address. Please understand, in this political climate, we need to have you pre-register
Yes.
in order to come to the volunteer meeting.
Yes.
That doesn't mean we don't want you or your friends and family, but please pre-register, because that way we will know who is coming into our volunteer meeting to help
Absolutely.
serve.
It's just a safety. It's a safety issue for you and for us. It's a safety issue, and you can appreciate those safeguards that we use to try to keep everyone safe.
Yes.
Now, Kim, also we're gonna have some merch coming up really soon.
You're gonna have merch.
Yes,
We're
you're
gonna
gonna love
have
it.
merch.
You're gonna love it.
Exactly. T-shirts.
Yeah.
We're gonna have hats. We're gonna have all kind of merch coming up
Yes.
for We Can Do It, for Crystal's campaign.
Yes.
Yes.
And let me tell you, this made me, I don't know if I should have been proud of this or I should have been upset about this, but the last campaign, our branding was so popular that people were stealing not stealing, our campaign signs were disappearing.
Disappearing.
Yes, and ending up in people's backyards at parties and things. A lot of our Spanish ones were disappearing.
Gone.
Yes, yes,
Could not keep the Spanish signs.
yes,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
So
And branding is important.
that's
Branding is
right.
extremely
And
important.
Crystal had several Spanish speaking people come up to her when we were
Yes.
at a little
And
fair.
events, yeah.
And they were like, you're on the poster.
You're on the poster.
You're on the poster. Yeah.
Yes.
So it works.
It
Man,
does.
It works.
It
So
does.
we're gonna have our merch out there.
But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for tuning in. This means everything to me. We're because we had a couple of glitches in that video, I'm gonna scrub that video. I do all of that myself too. And we're gonna have some real cool campaign videos for you. Okay.
Not only that, Crystal, say it again. You're gonna be on YouTube. Are you on there now? Is this gonna be coming up on YouTube later, or are you on there now?
It's going to be live on YouTube, and you can see it in for posterity on YouTube. They are there, but we are going to be segueing to a YouTube format because it's just a whole lot more far-reaching
And
for everyone.
And on YouTube, that means when you go and you look at the podcast on YouTube, you're going to like, you're going to share, and you're going to subscribe.
Yes.
Like it makes it come up higher in the algorithm. So that
Absolutely.
means that it's going to come up when you start looking at political podcasts.
That's right.
Yes. So you're going to have to do all the things. You're going to have to like it. You're going to have to share it. You're going to have to subscribe. Crystal's going to start off the beginning of every show and the ending of every show,
Yes.
telling, go to YouTube, like, subscribe, share it.
Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, like Kim and I say every week, and this is now. And Rebecca said, I said Rebecca. I looked at Rebecca. I always say Rebecca.
Rebecca's playing Candy Crush.
Yes.
No, actually, I'm answering these. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm answering these teachers. That's still calling me.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna say this before we get off there. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to answer emails back and forth and stuff. Tomorrow, from the hours of 10 and 12, right up here. No, well, not in here, but in this building, we are going to have a lunch and learn. Basically, I've heard the cries of HISD teachers. Boy, have I heard the cries of HISD teachers. And a lot of you are visibly upset. A lot of you are frustrated. A lot of you are getting sick and finding out you have new debilitating diseases because of stress and everything that's put on you. I've heard of people with 3 and 4 weeks hospital stays because stress has really taken them out. So no need to fear. Rebecca's here. So what we're going to do on tomorrow from 10 to 12 o'clock, real briefly, we're going to have a lunch and learn. Lunch will be provided for you to, one, help you cope with the stress, number one. And 2, give you some concrete tools in your toolbox to deal with this tyrant of Mike Miles. Okay.
And to meet other people who are dealing with the same thing that you are. And this is hosted by Rebecca.
Yes.
And and very proudly presented by the Crystal Loves Texas podcast, supporting Rebecca and what she's doing, because teachers need to know that they are not alone.
Right.
All right. And Rebecca, do you have a contact or an email? Well,
yes, I do.
And call and register.
You can call me. My number is on the HISD teacher group. Crystal will also put some more information on there about my email. Now, there is a small fee, okay? One of my teachers said, no, don't call it a small fee, girl. It's basically a love offering at this point.
And what is it?
So it's $10, and you can send it to me through Zelle with my personal phone number.
Yes.
You can also send it through Cash App PVGirl07.
Yes.
Is
And we'll
my
make sure
Cash
all
App.
that's in the comments.
Right. Also, if you don't want to do the whole credit card Cash App thing, I will also take cash as well. So, and you can also pay. I've had people sending me money tonight and yes, last night. But you can also pay here at the event. We don't want to turn people away because this is an urgent call. This is very last minute. Will not be the last HISD Lunch and Learn Teacher Edition. It won't be, I promise. But this was kind of rushed because I felt the urgency.
The Rebecca Williams Lunch and Learn.
The Rebecca Williams
for HICT
teachers, right?
Yes.
So I felt the urgency. And I was just like, you know what, let me do this now.
Yes.
And I literally put it together in a couple of days. Now, from this point on, it's going to be more publicized,
Right.
more promoted. But this is just because I know things are happening right now,
Yes.
and things needed to be addressed right now.
Yes.
So we will see you here at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Remember to register.
Yes.
Register ASAP.
Register
Yes.
ASAP.
So Rebecca can prepare and make sure that she has enough food for everyone.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Kim and Rebecca, I want to thank you so much. I am so excited, honored, and proud to be a candidate again
Yes.
for the position of State Representative District 131,
Yes.
where I grew up here in Houston, Texas. And we're gonna make it work. We can do it. Just like that Rosie and Riveter ad said, hit the ground running. We're ready to get out there and work.
All right. So what do we always say?
We
We
can
can
do
do
it.
it.
See you later.